Hello, well class. I hope you've had a wonderful day and you've enjoyed completing your independent write for me today as a character from The Guardians of Childhood. Our third chapter today from Ottoline at Sea is called Chapter 3. Chapter 3. Mr. Munro was obviously trying to tell you something, dear, Mrs. Pasternak said as she poured them all another cup of tea from the four-spouted teapot. Yes, it must be my fault Mr. Munro has gone to Norway all by himself, said Ottoline tearfully. The bear offered her a large spotted handkerchief. There, dear, Mrs. Pasternak said sympathetically. Worse things happen at sea. What you need is a good night's sleep. I'm sure things will seem better in the morning. But that night Ottoline couldn't sleep. She lay wide awake thinking about Mr. Munro and missing him. Remember, if I rush any of the pictures, you can always pause them. There she is, thinking of all those things that she normally does with Mr. Munro and can't. In the morning, Ottoline found a postcard and a brown paper parcel on the doormat. It was addressed to Ottoline in her mother's handwriting. We'll go through what's inside it. So, inside were a roving collector's travel pass. It says, permits Ottoline Brown, an assistant, to rove for 17 days only. Look through here. Press this button. Photograph comes out here. And that's a bit like a Polaroid camera, which are really cool. Ottoline rushed to the cupboard where the bear liked to sleep. Wake up! She said. I'm going to Norway to find Mr. Munro. Will you come as my assistant? I'd be delighted, said the bear. The cupboard is full of roving collector's clothes. Now we get to see this is what the bear packed. So there they are. You've got a Patagonian poncho, love a poncho, a Himalayan rain hood, suitcase containing hairbrush and Canadian socks. Then we've got Ottoline with her triple bobble hat, notebook, moose boot, caribou platform shoe, Rover-matic camera and travel pass. I think she's pretty well prepared. Ottoline knocked on the door of apartment 244. Good morning, Mrs. Pasternak, she said. You were right. Things do seem better. We're going to Norway to find Mr. Munro. Could you give us a lift to Big City Harbour? Oh, I think I can do better than that, Mrs. Pasternak said mysteriously. 10 minutes later, they were driving down 3rd Street in Mrs. Pasternak's Warren Harding Continental. The automobile was so big that Mrs. Pasternak couldn't see over the steering wheel and had to look through it instead. Morris the monkey stuck his head out of the window and gave hand signals, a bit like indicators. There we go. Mrs. Pasternak drove past all the ships that were moored, right the way to the very end of the dock, until Morris waved stop. Mrs. Pasternak walked down to the edge of the dock and peered into Big City Harbour's murky waters. Cooey! Jules! She called. It's Aunt Judy. I hope this isn't an inconvenient time. Cover up part of it. There they are. A moment later, a tall periscope appeared. Mrs. Pasternak waved. Sorry to bother you, dear, she said. The periscope disappeared back into the water, which began to swirl and bubble. Here's the periscope. And a small, slightly rusty-looking green submarine rose to the surface. A hatch opened and 4 heads appeared. This is my nephew, Captain Jules Pasternak, Mrs. Pasternak said proudly. And his crew. Derek, Phoebe and Nugent, or Nugent. "Hello, Aunt Judy," said Captain Pasternak. "What can I do for you?" Here's the submarine. "My next-door neighbour, Ottoline Brown, and her assistant want to go to Norway," Mrs. Pasternak explained. "Can you help, Jules, dear?" "An amateur roving collector, eh?" said Captain Pasternak, looking at Ottoline's travel pass and stroking his beard thoughtfully. "I have a few errands to run and some underwater exploring to do, but I can take you some of the way," he said. "And with your travel pass you should be able to pick up another lift." "Thank you," said Ottoline, climbing aboard. "Take care," called Mrs. Pasternak from the dock, waving an embroidered handkerchief. "Remember to wear a vest." "Aye, aye," called Ottoline as the Iron Leviathan headed out to sea. "Batten down the hatches," ordered Captain Pasternak in a cheerful voice, "and prepare to dive." And then you've got the view through the periscope at the top. And there they are as they are diving. And we get to see inside the submarine. So we've got the engine room, diving suits, the periscope, hammocks, you've got to have somewhere to sleep, stalls underneath, the galley and the captain's cabin at the front. And that... Oh no, I thought it was the end of the chapter. It's not. Hey! Ottoline and the bear got settled into their hammocks as the Iron Leviathan went deeper and deeper into the sea. "I miss Mr. Munro," said Ottoline sadly.
"I know, it won't be the same," said the bear, "but I packed a hairbrush."
"Why Norway of all places?" Ottoline mumbled to herself as she brushed the bear's fur. "Mr. Munro doesn't like the cold and rain." Ah, unless, of course, he wants to help Ma and Pa look for Quite Bigfoot.
"Quite Bigfoot, the abominable troll?" exclaimed Captain Pasternak. "Terrifying creature, by all accounts. 8 foot tall and with a temper to match, but very hard to find. Like a mermaid."
"Mermaids?"
said Ottoline. "Yes," said Captain Pasternak. "Would you care to take a look?"
"Yes, please," said Ottoline. She looked through the periscope. "I can't see any mermaids," said Ottoline.
"Exactly," said Captain Pasternak, taking a deep-sea diving suit off a hook. "Time for a closer inspection."
And that is the end of chapter 3. You will have another edition tomorrow. I hope you have a lovely afternoon and I will see you very soon. Take care. Bye.